so she's sick. She told me she has lupus. She has lupus.
Oh.
Yeah. So as soon as she gets better, then we can get her rescheduled. Yeah.
Yeah. Bless her heart. I hope she feels better.
I know, me too. Yeah, she was very disappointed not to be on the show. So.
That's okay. I'll bring you guys on my podcast too, together.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. When she gets better, yeah.
Did you just switch that, Andrew?
You just sounded all really bright.
Oh my God. It's better. My husband plays with lights and sound constantly.
Lighting is key.
Yeah. I told him if he makes me 20 years younger, that'd be great.
Now, how long have you two been married?
Married 33 years. We've been together 35.
Wow.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Yeah.
We
still get along.
We're
going through a stressful time now, but it will pass.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get my brother an apartment, not easy.
No.
Co-signer.
No luck, huh?
Well, I filled out 2 applications this week, me and my husband. We just got back from another one. And, it cost each of us $35 to get a background check and stuff. It hasn't been cheap. We're putting him up in a hotel. Yeah, it's been rough after the fire was just devastating.
I'm so sorry.
And the landlord's just like, I'll pay you back your first month's rent. I'm like, now?
Wow. Yeah.
But the Red Cross is helping. So
that's good.
Yeah. When he moves in, he'll have like a furniture voucher, food voucher. So everybody put that energy that he'll get one of the apartments. Preferably this one because it's only $450 a month.
Yeah.
All in my prayers.
Yes. In my prayers too.
Absolutely. You guys ready to have some fun?
Well,
Sure.
Paranormal fun, Paul.
Okay, sounds good, DeeDee.
All right. You guys have a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Welcome to the paranormal and metaphysical world of Twilight Tonight. Host DeeDee Moonflyer grew up with very open-minded parents who had many experiences with UFOs and the paranormal. Because of her mom's insistence on exposing her to spiritual classes, meditation, and teachings of Edgar Cayce, DeeDee had a fascination and deep interest in the paranormal. Her own paranormal experiences have led her to seek out and interview other fascinating, knowledgeable people for better understanding of this phenomenon. Now, your host of Twilight Tonight, DeeDee Moonflyer.
Happy Friday, everyone. Tonight we have Paul Darrell Roberts in the house. I'm so excited. You guys need to check out all of his books, which he has a lot of paranormal books out. Paul, what is it, over 70 books?
Yeah.
He has a lot of books.
It's about 73 books, yeah.
Oh, Oh my gosh.
With the paranormal, there's a lot to write about.
Yeah. You've done such amazing stuff, Paul. And I know we're going to have Danielle on tonight, but you're an endless wealth of knowledge. So this won't be a boring moment.
Yes, and bless Danielle's heart. Danielle Borazon is supposed to be on this show, but she fell ill. And so prayers that she gets better soon and then she could be on this show.
Yeah, I hope you get well soon, Danielle, because I'd really love to talk to you. I'd love to have you and Paul on Twilight Tonight Paranormal Podcast. I think that would be a lot of fun, too.
Oh.
So, Paul, what are you up to these days? I know you have other projects you're starting.
Oh, yeah. October 14th, Saturday, we have the big our HPI annual UFO ghost hunt. And this is the first time we combine a ghost hunt with a UFO hunt. So we got a bunch of people, and they're going to show up to Natomas, which is in northern Sacramento, and we'll be looking at the skies all night long for UFO activity. And also, too, there's this creek. It's called Bannon Creek, and it runs alongside this house. And there's a lot of open field for people to sit down and look for UFOs. But also, too, Bannon Creek is very haunted. So at one point in time, there was a lot of homeless people living on the creek. And some people, unfortunately, died at the creek. And we did an investigation there, and sure enough, we got some EVPs, so it showed us that it is haunted. And there's these little bridges, and on one of the bridges, like an orb will appear on the bridge. And so a lot of people see this little orb floating around at nighttime. So we got the ghost hunt going on, and there's no more homeless people there. So they were all moved out because the city came in and said you can't stay here, can't camp here. So they're gone. But some of the spirits of the ones who died there are still there. So we got that going on, and that's an all-nighter. We got the Sacramento News and Review. They're going to be there to do a story. So it should be very, very exciting.
I think it sounds like a blast. I have like envy that that's going on. I can't be there because I'm in Portland, Indiana.
Yeah, where are you from, DeeDee?
I'm from Dayton originally,
Uh-huh.
and about 7 years ago we moved to Fort Wayne. Well, I moved to Fort Wayne 7 years ago, so.
And Fort Wayne's in Indiana, right? It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. We have some cool places here that a lot of investigators come to. Like we have the Bell Mansion. We have the Embassy Theater that's haunted. One of the Mason buildings here is haunted. So we have a lot of haunted places. I know in Dayton, Middletown is really haunted. Waynesville is like very, very haunted. It's like known for its ghost. And Dayton also. So I come from like area of Midwest. It's just full of activity.
And DeeDee, have you been to all these places that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I have.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, now I'm envious.
Oh. You come here, you want to go back to California.
I've been to Indiana, though, because I was stationed at one time at Fort Knox, Kentucky. So when I was driving from California, I went through Indiana and then into Kentucky and stuff.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
I miss my hometown.
Oh, yeah.
I miss Dayton quite a bit. I don't know why. You know, it's just you grow up someplace, you know, you get used to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, Dale, you have that going on. But also, I want to touch bases with you on more investigation, because you did a lot of work with Mimics Among Us as well. You were one of the authors in there. just to touch base with you, that's a very fascinating. What you told me is very fascinating with mimics and stuff. Your story about being called into an orange field when you were a child, and also mimics, alien type mimics that in California. I just wanted to touch base with you. I was wondering if you've heard any more about that. I know you've talked to people about that.
Well, also too, like I'm the location scout for Ghost Adventures for Northern California, and and you're talking about mimics. I found them 2 cases that they're working on, and hopefully they become episodes. One case is a home in San Francisco, and is supposedly haunted by Rudolph Valentino, the actor. And it's over 100 years old, and there's bangings on the wall and everything else. But also, what is kind of unique about it, and here's the mimic part, is that the owner one time was hearing all these bangings on the walls and these knockings and the footsteps and everything else. So he went out and started investigating and started walking around his house. And he came upon this room, and sitting on the bed was him. He was seeing his doppelganger. I mean, it looked just like the owner of the house that Rudolph Valentino supposedly died at. So he says also too, he saw the doppelganger, an image of himself, and also too, he believes that one of the ghosts is Rudolph Valentino, the actor. So they're working on that case. So if that case comes about and you see an episode, I'm the one that found it. So they're working on that one, and they're doing Bodie Hotel. And Bodie Hotel is a hotel that was actually in the town of Bodie. And I actually investigated the town of Bodie, and it's a very haunted ghost town. I mean, it was built back in the 1800s and everything else. And they moved this hotel out of Bodie into a small town in Northern California. So the owners are saying, yeah, Ghost Adventures are welcome here. They can investigate. So, and they have a mining district that they can also investigate, because a lot of miners died there. And the hotel itself is very, very haunted. They see spirits there all the time. So yeah, I worked on those 2 cases for Ghost Adventures. So hopefully they get things going and they're out there investigating them.
That's really cool. I didn't know you were doing that.
Oh yeah. I'm the location scout for Ghost Adventures for Northern California. So, like, if you look at my IMDb, you see a listing of all the Ghost Adventures episodes that I was involved in, and my wife was involved in.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, you have so much going on. I can't keep track of you. You're like the roadrunner of like the paranormal.
Beep beep. It's funny you mentioned Roadrunner, because when I was a little boy, I used to love that cartoon. Oh my God. I used to make sure I was watching it all the time, and watch that and Herculoids and the Thundar and all that stuff.
Sidman and the Sea Monsters. Do you remember that one? The Great Babe.
Vaguely, and then Space Ghost.
Oh yes.
Yeah. You brought back some
Land
memories.
Of the Lost. It's really. I think doppelgangers are probably really fascinating for me, because I remember when I was in my 20s, it was really funny. I was in the kitchen with one of my good friends, and I remember my husband just running past us to the bathroom. And we were giggling, and we made a comment, boy, he's got to go, right? And I hear The door's shut in the bathroom, everything, we both did, and my husband answered from the other room.
Wow.
And we both stopped, and then we were like, yep.
You know, a real spooky doppelganger story, and it comes out of Germany. And this woman is waiting at a bus stop, and she sees this bus going by, and on the last window of the bus, she sees herself, and she's waiting at the bus stop, looking at herself at the last window of the bus, and the doppelganger is just staring at her hard, and she's like totally freaked out and go, oh my God, I just saw myself on that bus. And so like 1 week later, she had a couple family members who passed away unexpectedly, and she believes that doppelganger that she saw cursed her, and that's why her family members died.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet Germany has a lot of crazy stories because what had been on in Germany over the years between wars and everything else.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was in Germany, I was working undercover narcotics with the Drug Suppression Team, CID Criminal Investigation Division. So I was traveling all throughout Germany and staying in different hotels at these different cities in Germany and looking for drug dealers. That was my job. I was a MP, military policeman, but they needed young guys to work undercover. So my code name was Pork Chops. So I traveled, Pork Chops, that was my name. And, I'll tell you how I got that name. Okay, so the Special Agent White over with Criminal Investigation Division, CID, I asked him, I said, why is it that they call me Pork Chops? How come that's my code name? And he goes, well, because you're a blank blank Puerto Rican. I go, I'm not Puerto Rican. I mean, I guess Puerto Ricans eat pork chops. And I go, no, I'm not Puerto Rican. And so that's how I got the name Pork Chops. But we all had some crazy nicknames. But there was a situation over there, a couple paranormal situations that I had. And Germany is very haunted. I mean, you have all those castles and everything else, right? So in one of my cases, I heard this plopping sound, and I was working undercover by this nightclub, but you can hear this plopping sound and hit the sidewalk. Well, come to find out, it was a woman who jumped from the 5th floor of this building, and she hit the sidewalk and passed away. Well, her ghost, I had to go back into that area again. Her ghost, her spirit, actually started haunting that place. People were seeing her. So we had that situation. I never saw that, but we had that situation. And then we had another situation where a woman that I met, her father was a Nazi, and she had pictures of her father, and he was wearing the Nazi uniform. And she, in turn, somehow got kidnapped by these Middle Eastern people who wanted revenge on her father, and they drugged her, and she became like a zombie. And that story was actually published in Brad Steiger's book, and Brad Steiger is a very renowned paranormal investigator and author, and so he took that story, he had a zombie book, and he put that story in there, but she was actually like a zombie. It was like they had complete control over her mind. And she had a very large hole in her buttocks, because to try to control her, they actually carved out a chunk of meat from her behind. And the story itself was just terrifying. And And I actually do believe that she became like a zombie because they kept her medicated with all those narcotics and stuff.
That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, was that back in the 40s, 50s?
Oh, no. During my time in Germany, I was there from 74, 76. That's where I met her, and then she was kidnapped before that, like in the 60s. Yeah.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, that is horrible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, who does that stuff?
I know. And yeah, and Brad Steiger asked me if I had any zombie stories. Well, I had a couple, and I had that story because she actually became like a zombie. And there's more detail to it, than that. But and he says, yeah, she was a zombie. He classified her as a zombie and placed her in his book. Yeah.
Ooh, that's frightening.
Oh yeah, very frightening.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Wow.
I know. Gives me the creeps too.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh my god.
The zombie thing has always gave me kind of, anyway, and I think the second thing that does it to me is the black-eyed children.
Oh, black eye. Oh, and we had cases of that. Like here in Sacramento, California, we had a lady who, these two boys would come up to her front door. They would knock on the door, and they wanted to use her telephone. And she said no. And then they would knock on the door again, and then she noticed that their eyes were all black. And that just really creeped her out. And said, no way, go away, get out of here, right? And so one day, they came knocking on the door, wanting to use her telephone, wanted to drink some water, and she said no. And she got in her car to get away from them, and they were standing in her driveway. She drives 10 miles down the road, and by a tree, 10 miles down the road, she sees them again. Somehow they magically appeared from her house 10 miles down the road in front of her car as her car is whizzing by, and there they are looking at her. So finally, they just kind of vanished, disappeared. They weren't knocking on her door anymore. And this family moves into the house next door to her. And come to find out, they have two boys that actually look like the black-eyed kids. But their eyes were normal, and they were normal kids. So there we go again with the mimic thing. You had these two boys with black eyes harassing her. And then they're gone. A family moves in, and they have two boys that look just like the black-eyed kids, but their eyes are normal. Mimics.
Yeah, those kids, I think when I first heard about them, it was on a podcast before I considered podcasting. I actually got chill bumps for some reason hearing about them. I don't know why. The whole idea of them just creeps me out completely. And I've seen some creepy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that would do me in a little bit. I think I'd be like, oh, no. No.
And I want to ask you something, Dee. The Mexican congressional hearing that they have, and Jamie Mawson, who happens to be a journalist in Mexico and a ufologist, brought out these two coffins, and inside those coffins were supposedly bodies of aliens, extraterrestrials, that are probably 1,000 years old. They've done x-rays on them and everything else, and they're doing a DNA analysis. And Jamie Mawson, who happens to be a friend of mine on Facebook, claims that these are truly extraterrestrial bodies. What do you think?
Wow. You know, I say never. I firmly believe they exist. I firmly believe that we've known a very long time. And I think the news is having a heyday because of the recent trials that happened here. I truly think it's been happening, and we ourselves in the U.S. probably have bias. And if it's true,